this site, you have a trinity of African history, ancient history. You have Nuri, where Taharka has his pyramid along with many others. And then you are here on the other side of the river at El Kurru, where the great Piankhy has his tomb and others. And then you have the great holy mount, Shabaka. And so you have in this site a trinity of sacred spaces.
You have several types of monuments in Egypt and the Sudan. Both of them developed a tradition of having a certain set of monuments on one side of the Nile and another set of monuments on the other side. For example, one side of the Nile in the east was considered the land of the living. And so the great temples and other buildings would be located on that side. Then the western part of the Nile was the land of the transition. And that included the mortuary temples and the actual burial sites. And so you have a combination based upon the geography of different types of structures. The pyramids in the Sudan were built 2,000 or so years after the pyramids in Giza, and they're of a different nature. The great pyramids of Giza that were built by the great family of the Old Kingdom, Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure, the father, the grandfather, and the son. Those pyramids are the greatest building in the history of the world. They're monumental. And they had the stone, the granite stone, that they could quarry in that part of the Nile Valley. And they could bring it easily from other parts of the Nile Valley. So they had these millions of blocks, of enormous blocks, that they were actually able to put in place in the greatest building in the history of the world. The pyramids in Nubia are of a different nature. They are a reflection of pyramid building, but they have their own particular form. They don't have the chambers, the burial chambers, in the structure. They have the burial chambers under the structure. And they have a mortuary chapel that you go into as you enter into the, going under the pyramid structure to the actual burial. And so you wouldn't have the dimension of inner climbing up into the belly of the pyramid, such as the Great Pyramid, because they're not that of that size. However, this one great pharaoh, Taharka, whose cover is gracing the National Geographic, when his father and his uncle, and he followed them, and they were able to unify the cultures of the Nile in Egypt and the Sudan, and able to give a rebirth to the building and to the high level of the culture. Taharka had started his burial pyramid in Nubia, but after the conquest of the Nile by this family dynasty, Taharka had a new pyramid built over the old pyramid, in which he doubled the size. And so the largest pyramid of the pyramid fields in Nubia, there's several of them. There's more pyramids in Nubia than in Egypt itself, but they're of a smaller size. But Taharka was so inspired by the great pyramids of Giza that when he went home, he doubled the size of his pyramid. So there's actually one small pyramid and another larger pyramid built over it. The same inspiration of the great pyramid building that occurred in Nubia in the kingdom of Kush, and this is this book, The Kingdom of Kush, which deals with the Napatan period and the Meroitic period. this inspiration to build the pyramids also went along with the inspiration to expand the temples. And so some of the greatest building in Nubia are the great spiritual centers that were built particularly to the composite Egyptian god Amun. And often they combine this hidden sense of God with Re. So you have Amun Re. Amun being the hidden aspect of God, Re being the greatest manifestation of God, which is the sun. And so when the Nubians from the 25th Dynasty came up from Nubia and reunited the whole Nile, they also rebuilt the temples and expanded the temples, refurbished the temples.
As we move further north from the Napata, going further back in time, we go to Kerma.